Hey guys, so I've been investigating the rebase issue. Came up a couple weeks ago, and we were getting conflicts that we weren't expecting. So I wanted to get to the bottom of why that was happening. I knew it was something regarding rebasing and squashing. Um, I think those are good practices to use, but obviously, if we were getting like an awful lot of conflicts, it wouldn't be worth it. So I just want to try to dig there a little bit. And I think I found something. I think I found what could be the root cause. And what the problem is we are occasionally double committing certain commits, or at least that's what I think is the problem. And I just want to go through that and just go through a way of how to avoid double committing commits because I think it should make our lives easier. But first, we need to understand the problem. So I'm just going to get us into that mess. And I'm going to start by just, I made a dummy repository, just has a couple files, file 1 and file 2. We'll probably just use one of those. And let's just make a branch and start committing things. So I'm going to call this branch 1. And I'm just going to add lines here. It doesn't really matter what I write, but commit 1. Let's make a couple more. And one final one. Okay, so say my feature was 3 commits long. And now someone else wanted to use this work because I was collaborating with another member on the team, and they needed my work. So let's say they branched off of my branch. So git branch 2. And let's say they simply added more. And one more for good luck. Okay, so now we have 2 branches, one branch from the other, and now I want to simulate a conflict. So say while this was going on, developers from branch 1 and branch 2 are collaborating. Another change, let's say a bug fix, goes into master. So if we check out master, we look at the file, we're still here. And let's call this varz bug fix merged from master. Merge to master. And let's say they made a pull request, but for right now, I'm just going to commit this directly. Creating conflict. Okay, so let's just recap where we are. On our master branch, we have our original commit, and we also have the bug fix commit. Let's call it C bug fix. We have branch 1, which has the original commit, and has C1, C2, and C3. And then we have branch 2, which has everything on branch 1, except it also has C4, C5, and C6. And they all touch the same file. In an ideal world here, we'd only get one conflict, the conflict that comes up on line 4 here, because there's something else there, another conflict, another branch. But in screwy world, we can get all sorts of weird conflicts that we wouldn't expect, and we'll get to that. So let's go back to branch 1. So let's say the developer from branch 1 is finished, and they wanted to commit these first 3 commits to the main line. So let's go back to branch 1, and let's just start a rebase. Okay, so this is the familiar screen. We're just picking the 3 commits to put in here, and we're going to squash them. So I'm going to replace the bottom 2 picks with S's. So and we get the first conflict, and this is the conflict we'd expect here on line 4, and it says, you know, on head we have this var z, and on our first commit we have var b. So let's say we want both of them. Let's just resolve this guy, and we can continue. Hopefully, we shouldn't expect any other conflicts here, and we should be able to just continue through with this. So I'm going to add that file and continue the rebase. So it just tells me to update my message, and we're through. So so far so good. This is what we'd expect, and there was a conflict, but we were able to resolve it. It was an expected conflict because there were 2 things in the same file. So now let's go back to our diagram and see what we did here. So we rebased the branch, which is really these 3 commits, onto master. So what we did is we just changed that to this, and now these 3 commits are slightly different because we resolved the conflict. So we did perform a squash, so this actually turns into, let's call this, these 3 commits are now 1 commit, squash, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and on branch 2 we still have all this other stuff that hasn't really been resolved yet. So this is where the problem could happen. So let's go back here and let's first let's merge this branch 1 into the main line. So this would be analogous to creating a pull request and then merging this in. So let me check out master, and let me merge this in directly. Branch 1. Okay, so now master looks exactly like branch 1. Now let's say we are finished with branch 2, and now we want to rebase branch 2 onto master. So git check out branch 2, and let's look at it again. And so we know that there's going to be some sort of resolution that needs to happen, but we're not exactly sure what it'll be. But if we look here, we see commits 1, 2, and 3 have already been committed to the main line, and this is where the double commit comes from. This is where it stems from. So let's open up the rebase screen here and just take a look at what's going to happen. Okay, so when we open this up, we see that it has commit lines for all 6 commits, despite the fact that 3 of the commits have already changed. At first I thought this was because of the squash, but it turns out it doesn't matter whether it's squashed or not, because these C1, C2, and C3 commits have changed. Because we resolved for that bug fix conflict, they are now C1 prime, C2 prime, C3 prime. They're no longer the same as C1, C2, C3, so Git doesn't really recognize them. So it, by default, puts them in our rebase. The correct way to do this would be to remove these 3 commits. We know they're already in based on branch 1 being merged in already. So that way we can just put C4, C5, C6, because those are actually the new changes that need to go into the main line. But for the sake of argument, I'm going to just leave it here just to show the problems that this could cause. So if I resolve this, if I just close this and continue as it is, we are going to try to apply this first commit to And if we remember back, that is adding this line B um, to this master, which already has that commit inside. And this is what's going to cause all these unexpected conflicts. So I'm going to keep going here. And here we go. Here's the first one. See, now it shows that, oh, we need to add this variable b, even though b is already here. This looks very strange, and this is what the problem is with double committing. So even if I remove this, we're going to get another conflict next with var c. Or var d rather, and so on and so forth. So this is not what we want to do. So let me abort this and do it the right way and see what that looks like. Okay, so I'm back on, I just aborted the rebase, so we're back on branch 2 in a somewhat clean state. And now let's go do the rebase again, but the quote right way, unquote. Okay, so we don't need these 3 lines because they've already been merged in. And I guess one question could come up, like how should you know that those 3 have already been merged in? And I think if you're branching off of somebody else's branch, you probably could assume that that other person is going to put those commits in there themselves in their own pull request. So you don't need to have their commits in your patch. So that's one way to know. Or if you made a pull request earlier, just make sure you, when you rebase, you only have a new set of commits in there. So we can avoid this double committing. So now 4, 5, and 6 have not been put into master before, so this should not give us as many problems. We might have a conflict, but these are the changes we need to make. So let's see, we should have 1 conflict. Oh, actually it didn't. And we didn't have any conflicts at all. It just needed to move everything down. So here we see var z, the bug fix that was merged to master, and we have all our other commits there as well. And now we could just merge this to master, which is the equivalent of making a pull request. So check out master, git merge branch 2, and we have no more conflicts. Everything is in. We have our 2 feature branches in there, and we also have the bug fix all coexisting nicely. I'm sure there'll be questions, and perhaps this isn't the issue, but I think it's likely that this was at least one of the issues that we were facing. But let me know what you guys think, and I guess we'll talk more at Scrum. All right, thanks guys.